You feel the weight of the world in your chest. It's not just sadness, it's the ache of unspoken stories, of truths buried too deep to name. You are not numb, you are not broken, but you feel everything: the sorrow of a stranger, the loss of a friend, the longing in a silent room. It's not your fault, it's not your weakness, it's just how your soul has always worked. You are the one who notices the quietest things. The way a friend's voice cracks at the end of a sentence, the tension in a room that others don't see, the way a door slams with a finality that stays with you. You feel it all, you carry it all, and sometimes it feels like your own heart is too fragile to hold it. You are the one who cries in the grocery store, not because of the groceries, but because the world has become too loud. You are the one who hears the silence between words. You are the one who feels the pain of others like it's your own. You do not choose this, you just are this. You have always felt this way. Even as a child, you sensed the unspoken, the tension between parents, the unspoken grief in a grandparent's eyes, the fear behind a teacher's smile. You were not meant to be ignored. You were not meant to be left in the dark. You were meant to feel deeply, fully, and completely. This is not a flaw. It is a gift, or perhaps a burden that you were born with. You are not broken. You are just more sensitive, more aware, more connected to the undercurrents of life. It is not your fault that the world feels too loud. It is not your fault that you feel too much. You may have been taught that feeling too deeply is a weakness, that you should have been more guarded, more distant, more hardened by the world. But you were not taught that. You were taught instead to feel, to love, to care, to be more than just a vessel for the world's pain. This sensitivity has roots. Perhaps in your childhood, you were expected to be the peacekeeper, the caretaker, the one who always saw the needs of others before your own. Perhaps you were never taught how to set boundaries, how to say no, how to protect your own heart. And so you kept feeling, for everyone else and for yourself. Your shadow may have told you that you are too much, too emotional, too sensitive, too intense. But your shadow is not your truth. It is the part of you that was never allowed to feel, to express, to exist. It is the part of you that was pushed into silence. And now it is screaming for you to listen. This deep feeling is not a flaw. It is a sign that you are not numb, that you are not empty, that you are deeply, profoundly human. You are not broken. You are just more in touch with the world than others. And that is not a weakness, it is a strength, if you allow it to be. You are not alone in this. There are millions of people who feel this way, the ones who sense the undercurrents, who feel the weight of the world more than others, who are not broken but simply more sensitive. You are not a burden, you are not a problem, you are simply more deeply connected to the world than others. This sensitivity is a kind of gift, a bridge between you and the world. It is a way of seeing more, feeling more, loving more. But it is also a way of suffering more, of being wounded more, of carrying more. And that is why it is not always easy to be you. That is why you sometimes feel overwhelmed, exhausted, even broken. But here's the truth. This sensitivity is not a curse. It is not a burden that you must carry alone. It is a part of you that is worth honoring, worth understanding, worth protecting. You do not need to be less than you are. You do not need to shut it down. You need to learn how to hold it, how to carry it with grace, how to let it be part of your strength. This is not about hiding it. It is not about pretending you are not feeling. It is about learning how to hold the weight, how to set boundaries, how to protect yourself without shutting down your heart. It is about learning how to feel deeply and still be whole. That is the path you must walk. You can begin by simply acknowledging the feeling, by naming it, by saying, I feel this. I am not wrong for feeling it. I am not broken for feeling it. I am simply more deeply connected to the world than others. That is the first step. That is the first act of self-compassion. That is the first step toward healing. You can begin by learning to hold the feeling without being overwhelmed by it, by learning that you do not need to be the one who carries it all. You can learn to say no, to set boundaries, to protect your own heart. That does not mean you are less sensitive. It means you are learning how to be both sensitive and strong. You can begin by learning that you are not alone in this, that there are others who feel deeply, who carry the weight of the world, who understand the ache of being too sensitive. You are not broken. You are simply more deeply connected to the world than others. And that is not a flaw. It is a gift. You are not a burden. You are not a problem. You are simply more deeply connected to the world than others. That is not a weakness. That is a strength. That is the kind of person who can see more, feel more, love more. That is the kind of person who can change the world if they learn how to hold their own heart with care. You are not weak for feeling too much. You are not broken for being too sensitive. You are not flawed for being too deeply connected to the world. You are simply more human than most. And that is not a weakness. It is a gift. That is the kind of person who can change the world if they learn how to protect their own heart. That is not a burden. That is a sign of something deeper, a sign that you are not numb, not broken, not empty, that you are deeply, profoundly human. And that is not something to be afraid of. That is something to be honored. So the next time you feel the weight of the world in your chest, take a breath. Remember that you are not alone, that you are not weak, that you are simply more deeply connected to the world than others. And that is not a burden, it is a gift. That is the kind of person who can change the world if they learn how to hold their own heart with care.